Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Are you still running your business with one creaky old phone system? Missing calls, losing track of messages, and scrambling to keep up with your team? It's time to break up with the past and say hello to Quo. Quo is the #1 business phone system with 4.7 stars across 3,000 reviews on G2. Quo brings all your business phone calls and texts into one app for your team. No more juggling devices or being tied to a landline. Quo's built-in AI logs calls, creates summaries, automates follow-ups, and can even answer and route calls so you never miss an opportunity. Whether you're a solo operator or leading a growing team, Quo keeps you connected and helps you deliver standout customer experiences. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo and see why it's the #1 business phone system for customer satisfaction. Level up your workflow with Quo. Get started free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/business. That's Quo, spelled QUO.com/business. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for free. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
My name is Norman Cook. Welcome to the Sober Awkward podcast.
Have you ever woken up on a Sunday morning and said, I'm never drinking again, and then found yourself waving $50 at a barman by happy hour?
Are you wondering why everyone else can stop at 1 while you head to a dodgy after-party with a weird bloke called Disco Dave? If so, it might be time to take a deeper look at your relationship with your reliable social crutch, alcohol.
On each episode, we'll investigate our own dysfunctional dealings with booze and find out if it's possible to stop this deeply ingrained habit before things get too messy.
Yep, we're going to open up a shame shed of humiliating drinking stories to help you understand why waking up from a booze coma each weekend with a kebab sticking out of your top pocket might actually be negatively impacting your health.
Hamish and I are here to delve into what it's like being sober, an unwanted warts and all look into why giving up those cheeky pints or putting down those mummy wines will make you feel happier, help your anxiety and mental health, and turn you into the most sparkly, authentic version of you.
Won't that mean I become boring though, Vic?
Well, Hamish, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Victoria Vanstone.
I'm Hamish Adams-Cairns.
And this is Sober Awkward.
You remarked on the top of my lip.
Yeah, there's a small slug residing there.
Yes. Full disclosure, we are recording this in November, which I've always avoided from the Movember front. Not because I don't support men's mental health, although that would be an interesting stance to have. Anti-men's mental health.
I don't support that. Yes, I'm anti-men's mental health.
I said, look, can I just donate rather than having to do it? And 2 of the guys I now work with were like, no, you've got to do it. It was, 6 days in? Today's the first day Liz looked at me and she's like, oh no. Oh God,
Yeah.
I can see what you're doing now. It looks like I've forgotten rather than I'm actively growing a moustache. But who did you just refer me to?
It's a very
Freddie
Freddie Mercury moustache, which is good. The more anybody looks like Freddie Mercury, the better, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, well, I will take that. Your current facial hair is looking just fine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got a few hormonal black hairs on my chin. I'm glad you've noticed. Yeah.
So I've tried to not, hate is too strong, but resent you for the last few months because I've been following your life mainly on social media. You have been all through the Europes, all through the Americas. Today you are in Thailand where you're just going to live for a little bit because why not?
Yeah.
Can you reassure me that it has been shitter than the photos?
Yeah, it's awful. It's horrible here.
Yeah.
It's terrible, Hamish.
Good.
I've had a very spicy bum today, which you probably don't want to know about.
Oh,
I ate
that's
too
a
much
bit fun.
spicy food because I always go hard with my spicy food. I'm like, yeah, make it like a Thai, Muan Gan Kon Thai, which means like I want it the same as a Thai person has it, which I always think is really cool in the moment. And then I spend the rest of the week on the toilet with a spicy bum. Actually, we're calling each other. Hamish is in Sydney. I'm in a remote town in Thailand, and it's election day in America, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, and I, before coming online today, have just seen that the winner has been announced.
I can't believe that it's true, quite honestly. I mean, a country that votes without any sausage sizzles, first of all, Hamish, might be in trouble. But now let's say there's a sausage in charge of the country.
Sober Awkward gets political.
Yeah. We don't know enough about politics to even mention it.
I
I
know.
was sort of hoping that we'd wake up to a female president tomorrow, but it looks like that's not going to happen, and
No.
let's not get involved with that. I just want to mention here, Hamish, because we haven't done a podcast for a while. Since I last saw you, we had our London live show, didn't we? Which was absolutely amazing. I mean, the actress Kerry Godliman was there. There was all sorts of people there. They were all cuppa members. They were all members of our families. But while we were there, before the show, I was just going to mention this here because it's related to our topic today, is that I got a message from someone that wanted to come to the live show, but said they couldn't because they'd just started drinking again and they could not face it. Her question was, Vic, should I consider this a lapse or a relapse? It's a good question, isn't it? I sent a message back with a few tips and told her to consider some therapy. Of course, that's what we always do, isn't it? But it got me thinking, are relapses part of the sober journey? If it does happen, do you have to start again on day one? Or are they a sign that you need a few more spanners in the toolbox? Spanners in the toolbox, by the way, Hamish, is not a sexual innuendo, in case you were getting excited. It's not a spicy sausage in the wet lettuce. That isn't it. That isn't an innuendo.
Wet lettuce, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just let that sink in.
I don't know why that came to mind.
Relapses are an interesting thing. I think we feel a lot of shame about them and they feel very finite and it feels like a failure. But I think maybe we need to look at them as taking that one step back that enables you to take two forward. So maybe you aren't quite ready and you need to do more of what we call the work to ensure a longer sobriety next time, or an infinite sobriety is obviously the goal. And I think maybe that is the right way to look at it. But I think that is what we're going to try and unpack over the course of today's episode.
Yeah, totally. And also, it's November. Lots of people in our cuppa group and members of our guide, that is our online kind of sobriety guide, finished their Sober October challenge. And we thought this episode would be really helpful for anyone that's just finished Sober October, that is thinking about drinking again and wondering whether if they have one drink, it's okay. And is that going to be a lapse? And do they have to go back in time and reset their app and all of that business? Yeah, before we get into this though, Hame, let's work out if it's a lapse or a relapse when you start drinking again after a while. And do we even have to label it as anything? That's another question.
You're mainly questions and no answers. That's the issue. I listened to the podcast. I think I'm going to get some answers. Nothing but questions and sexual innuendos. This podcast is a waste of time in my eyes.
It's just lots of people asking questions and then we just leave it. It's like a big tumbleweed moment. What do you think about this? Well, I don't really know. What do you think? Oh, I don't know either.
Just rhetoric. Just nothing but rhetorical questions, no advice. That's
got any ideas, Hamish? Nah, no, me neither. Next question.
I think those two words, lapse and relapse, mean different things for different people. I think if I had a drink today, I don't think I would call it a relapse because I kind of feel like it would almost be offensive to people that actually have suffered a relapse. I think it would be the end of my sobriety, although that also sounds quite serious and terminal. So maybe it would be, instead of the end, maybe it's the start of my becoming sober curious. But then that feels like a cop-out. What about you, Vic? What would you call it if you had a drink today?
I think a lapse sounds a bit softer, definitely, but I guess that depends on where you sit on the vast sort of addiction spectrum and how long you've been sober for. I think, Haim, if I had a drink today, I probably would call it a relapse, actually, the opposite to you, just because I think it gives it a bit of seriousness and the weight that it kind of deserves. It would be very life-changing and probably a bit soul-destroying if I took a drink. There would need to be some sort of intervention, Haim. I think you'd have to call my family up and get them to sit in a room with some sad faces. I think something would have gone very wrong with me indeed if I ever had a drink again.
Have you ever thought about just how ridiculous the word lapse is? Do you lapse or relapse from anything else other than alcohol and drugs?
I mean, you might lapse in your energy, I suppose. Like have a lapse in your in your personality. Like you have quite a lot of lapses in your personality, I find.
You mean, no, sorry, you mean flaws. You're getting
Yeah,
confused.
flaws. Yeah, flaws and lapses. Yeah, that's how I describe you. I say he's an all right bloke, but he's got a lot of lapses in his personality. He's very
Yeah.
flawed. Yeah.
We don't want anyone that listens to this podcast to go back to drinking, but we are also not completely blind to the fact that lots of people do relapse or have a drink during their sobriety, either because you get bored or you feel left out or just that booze fantasy gets too big in your mind and it ends up winning. Whatever the reason, there may be a time when having a drink seems like a better or often easier option than going sober.
It could be all of those things, but it could also be that you haven't done enough to stay sober long term, which is actually the reason I think it is. So today we want to find out why this happens and why getting straight back on the sobriety wagon, gaining a few more tools and sausages perhaps, and not feeling shame over your slip up will be the best way to move forward.
Vic, have you ever relapsed?
No. Never.
Not once.
I mean, I also, funnily enough, there's like shame over relapse. I feel shame over not relapsing. I know that sounds really stupid.
This is the drinker in you.
I know, I've only just realised this since we're talking about it right now. But actually, I feel like my journey to sobriety hasn't been wobbly enough. It hasn't had the massive drama in it that is kind of expected of somebody who is an alcoholic's journey. It hasn't had the me fighting for sobriety and then relapsing and going off the rails and then getting back on the wagon and all this kind of up and down. Mine's actually been a trajectory moving forward and upwards, which is why I've been very lucky. But I think that's actually to do with that collateral that we talked about with the lovely Jean McCarthy that time. I think I had prepared everything around me to have a successful sobriety, which is why I didn't go back. But I can't imagine relapsing. It would have to be something massive that had happened. It's not like being a vegan and eating a bacon sandwich or something. I think a relapse... Or a sausage. I think a relapse for me would symbolise a complete mental breakdown. It sounds traumatic, I know, but my life and I think my happiness and my relationships and my job, they're all based upon this one factor about me being sober. Maybe I put too much responsibilities on my sobriety. I don't know. What do you think? Is that weird that I feel bad that I haven't had that roller coaster ride?
No, I quite like that in you because you and I have got this thing in common, which we love stories. And I feel like you being dissatisfied with the boring upward trajectory of your sobriety is quite an endearing quality. It's like it would be a boring film. You just gave up and then you stayed giving up. There's no big twist in the middle where you're like drinking vodka in a bath by yourself, And I think I respect that. You said that it would take something enormous for you to relapse. What would it take?
Oh gosh, I can't imagine what it would take. If it did happen, it would signify something extremely wrong. Like it would be something severe. I can't predict what that would be, but it would be like worst case scenario, a death or something like that. But I can't imagine that it would happen because of all the work that I've done to get to where I am. It's almost not a possibility for me. And it's weird, isn't it, that I have this kind of feeling of maybe not being good enough at being a drunk. I know that sounds so stupid, doesn't it, thinking about it now. When people ask me that question, like that lady before the show, I felt like I didn't have a right to answer because I hadn't been through what she had been through. And if I had experienced her experience, then I would relapse too. But the fact is I haven't. Or, as we're going to find out throughout this podcast, it could be because I had all my tools in place, which is why I haven't done it. I know I get bored sometimes, and occasionally I have a feeling like when that cold beer goes past, as we talk about all the time, oh, wouldn't that be nice to throw that down my throat like Popeye? But that's just actually not going to happen. I'd have to be sort of anaesthetised in another way for me to make an irrational decision because it wouldn't be something, it's not a choice that I would make now.
It's interesting. I feel the same way. I feel like it's the one question that we get asked a fair bit. Lots of people will relapse and get in touch with us that really neither of us are in a position to give advice on. Neither of us have relapsed. So whenever I ever get asked that question, I'm always sort of redirecting them to other Cuppa members or encourage them to share it on Cuppa because Cuppa seems a very supportive place for people to A, share their relapses and B, support others through theirs. So neither of us really know what it's like to sort of beat yourself up over a relapse.
But I also think that's a good thing because it means that we have done the right work. That means we have such a solid sobriety. Therefore, we have a right to talk about it in how we do because we've done it very successfully. By us not relapsing or lapsing or whatever we call it, it means that we have a very long successful sobriety. And I think for me, if I was to have a drink, it would represent a complete sort of self-destruction of my life. I mean, what would you think, Hamish, if I came up to you tomorrow and said, oh, Hamish, I'm drinking again? What would be your first thought?
Oh, you selfish cow. You've ruined my career as a podcaster.
No, really.
I would be pretty worried, actually. I think knowing only through your storytelling what you were like as a drinker and knowing your pride in your sobriety, I think I would understand what a dark place you were in if you had had a drink. So I'd be really worried, actually. I'd be getting on to John and getting on to any of the friends and family that you're currently with and getting them to cuddle you close. Because, I know that you would be someone that beat themselves up pretty hard about it if it did happen to you. And I do actually think that we'll come back to this later in the episode, but you use the word successful in our sobriety because we hadn't relapsed. And actually, I think we almost want to change that mindset. I think you can still have a successful, long-standing sobriety with relapses in it. I think it's not, we should underplay this idea that it is failure, that like you were bad at being sober because you slipped up and therefore this thing that you've built up over days or months or years is broken. You can still be an inspiration. You can still be sober even if you slipped up. I was actually going to make a point here that technically both you and I have relapsed. If by relapse we mean had a drink of alcohol during a sobriety, well, both you and I have accidentally been served alcoholic beers when we ordered non-alcoholic beers. We've both taken a sip. And I think the way that we treated both of those, if you want to call it a relapse, call it a relapse. But both of us were like, haha, that was annoying. That guy served me a beer and I drank it, but no big deal. We just moved on. I actually think maybe treating a relapse insignificantly, if you're in a position to. Some people want to beat themselves up and that can motivate them to have a long-lasting sobriety. But for us, we're like, oh, you know what? It doesn't mean anything. We had a sip of beer. It was the wrong beer. Let's move on with our days. And I think there is some benefit in treating a relapse as insignificantly as that, rather than going, oh my God, I've ruined it. Because we all know it's not the first drink that is the relapse. Like the first drink is a sip of beer, fine. It's then going, bugger it. And then having 9 beers, and then having a week of drinking, and then suddenly you're back to your old ways. So I think there's something in the fact that both of you and I have drunk beer or drunk alcohol during sobrieties and not beating ourselves up about it. And I think that can be a good thing.
And I wonder, I know I mentioned earlier, like the vast spectrum of alcoholism. I do think it's very, very different depending where you sit on this kind of very, very up and down fence. Like, I know for you, we always call you the normal drinker. And like for you, if you had a drink, I don't think it would be as serious as I was having a drink or somebody who was a more extreme drinker. So this is going to be a really individual feeling. And it's just whether you see it as that blip, like you said, like this moment of madness. Oh, I went wrong. Let's start again, which I reckon is probably called the lapse, or whether you go fully into it and think that fuck it button got too close and right, I've had one drink now and then I'm just going to blow all this up the wall, and depending on how long that lasts. But yeah, it could be the beginning of a longer problem, or it could be the start of a better sobriety, as it were. But I totally agree with what you said about me using that language, saying a successful sobriety. Like for me, I think I was saying that more in a personal point of view. My sobriety has been successful for me in various ways. It's been successful for me, but I wouldn't judge it just because I haven't drank as being successful, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you conquered the control that alcohol had over you. That is big picture. That is a successful sobriety, right? It seems like there's a sliding scale here. Like perhaps if you were a more serious drinker, it would be considered a relapse if you drank again. Whereas if you don't have a dependency on it, it could be a lapse. whatever it is, whatever word you want to use for it. I actually think there should be another word that's not relapse or lapse. There should be something, because there's so much emotional attachment to those words. Relapse means something big, in the same way that alcoholic means something big. We've got this idea in our brain of what a relapse looks like, and it's big and dramatic and awful. Either way, what matters is that if you lapse or relapse, it can lead to you drinking again. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
I mean, I know you say those words don't matter, but for me, those words matter a lot. I know the word lapse sounds very light and it lessens the seriousness of the problem a bit, but it almost makes it sound appealing. Oh, like I just had a little lapse, like I've got a little,
Yeah.
I've just had a little blip, I've had a little lapse. But a little lapse for me is so massive. A momentary lapse, it's not just a cheeky little moment of madness for me, it's huge. I would feel like my sobriety was completely over and I'd be absolutely devastated. So I sort of agree that these words have different meanings for different people. I also understand that seeing it as a lapse takes the shame away a little bit, and it can be considered to be taking steps backwards. I do think, Hamish, this topic is a little bit of a minefield because it is very different for everybody.
Let's find out how many people that quit drinking booze have lapses and relapses. How common are these?
Okay, well, I had a look at Psychology Today, and it said the longer an alcoholic stays sober, we say the word alcoholic, we will translate that into sober, awkward terms, which is anyone who's ever had negative impact from alcohol, the better the chances are for a long-term sobriety. Overall, among people sober for 5 years, the chances of relapsing are less than 15%. So basically, the longer you're sober, the more likely it is that you have done more work. So the more you get into it, the better it is. It's like a circle of positivity that just keeps going. So the more sober you are, the more sober you are. Do you know what I mean?
She's a genius, isn't she?
Yeah.
The more sober you are, the more sober you are.
Yeah.
I'd look at another stat, which I think you might be familiar with, Vic, which is that 30% of relapses happen in the first year. And if someone keeps relapsing, it means they are actually more likely to give up alcohol long term. It basically means that they do keep trying, they keep getting back on the wagon. So either way, relapses, lapses, slip-ups will eventually lead you to being sober. So that's not a reason to relapse, by the way. I know that people listening to that are like, this means if I keep doing relapsing, then I get sober. No, ideally don't relapse. But there are stats to prove that people that carry on relapsing and carry on trying will eventually crack it.
I remember, Hamish, when I was trying to get sober, which I didn't know I was trying to get sober at the time. I was trying to moderate after I've had my first child, George. And I was desperately trying to go out and just have a couple of wines and then come home and just be a bit more well-behaved because I was become a mum. And I guess that period I was relapsing, but I just didn't know that I was on a path to sobriety, which is interesting. So you almost get the relapsing before the choice to get sober as well. So I have kind of experienced relapsing. I just didn't know the language around it or what was going on at me at the time. But all I knew was every time I went out and got wasted when I'd not meant to, was that I felt like shit afterwards because I felt like I wasn't in control of my own actions, and I felt shame that I couldn't parent the next day, and I just felt horrible about the whole thing. So I guess that's how people feel, is that they've gone backwards and why have I done this to myself, and all of that accumulated for me within 4 years. It sounds like a long time, and it felt like a long time, quite honestly, but that accumulated and that led me to a long-term, as I called it, successful sobriety. So I did have a period of lapse.
Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson star in Die My Love, a ferocious portrait of a woman engulfed by love and madness. Lawrence and Pattinson play a passionate couple who, after moving to an isolated house in the country, find their relationship unraveling following the birth of their first child. Vanity Fair hails Lawrence's performance as astonishing, and Time calls it the kind of performance you go to the movies for. From director Lynn Ramsey, Die My Love is now playing only in theaters, rated R.
Monday Sidekick, the AI agent that knows you and your business, thinks ahead and takes action. Ask it anything, seriously. Monday Sidekick, AI you'll love to use. Start a free trial today on monday.com.
And relapsing. It's just that I didn't have the vocabulary to describe what was going on with me at that time.
Failing at moderation is really a series of mini relapses, which maybe built your strong sobriety long term.
Yeah, totally. I think I'm starting to see a pattern here. What we're saying is that no matter what you call it, it's all a stepping stone towards who you want to be. You're trying, and there's only so long you can fail at something before you eventually get it right. And this will be different for everyone, but that is exactly what happened to me. It was a trial period, and it had to take some drinking and not drinking and failing and giving up and starting again for me to be able to go, okay, right, this is it forever.
Good. Okay, I feel like we're getting somewhere. I've also just thought of another lapse. Lapse in concentration popped into my head during your monologue
yes,
there.
another
Anyway.
lapse. Yes. What about people's
there'll
lapse
be
and
more
ocean
lapses.
lapse? Ocean
Okay,
lapse,
yeah,
the
lapse of a
ocean
pool.
lapse, that's a different spelling. But also you could sit on my lap, Hamish, if you wanted to.
No, thank you. If you think of any other lapses, please do email us, vicandhamish@soberawkward.com. Anyway, this is a minor, unimportant tangent. But yes, lapse. It's a weird word when you think about it.
Hamish, would you like to sit on my lap?
No, even if you're dressed as Santa, I'd rather sit next to you than on your lap, please.
Fair
Thank
enough.
you.
Yeah.
So, Vic, why do people, like the lady that emailed you, feel so much shame about going back to the bottle?
I think it's because people feel like they're letting not only themselves down, but they're letting the people around them down.
It makes sense to me that people feel like they've let themselves down, or they've let their friends down, or their family down when they drink. We have had some listeners get in touch with us saying that they feel they've let us down when they drink, which always sounds quite weird, but people feel like Sober Awkward is a part of their sobriety, and they feel somewhat disconnected from us, or like they've disappointed us when they leave the group because they become drinkers again. It's quite a weird, unique situation to be in.
Yeah, it totally is.
I think that feeling as if your sobriety is bigger than yourself because it affects all of your friends and all of your family and possibly your work and other people who have gone sober because of you, I think that can be a really good motivating thing. But obviously it can feel awful when you drink because you feel like you've let the whole world down. So you've got to be quite careful about the way you approach that.
I think in the beginning of sobriety, a really good tip actually to anyone that's listening and thinking about going sober is that you have to do it for yourself. You can't do it for everybody else. I mean, having that sort of accountability is great in some respects, but it really has to come from you. It's like when you tell people, oh, you've got a drink problem, but you can't hear it because, you don't want to hear the advice of other people. It's got to come from you, and that choice to be sober will come from you. And I think anyone that's listening and is questioning whether to drink or not, or relapse or lapse, it's only coming from them. Like they might blame a situation or an environment or a drunken friend saying, come on, let's have another one. But the choice still comes from you. And, my massive step forward when I stopped drinking originally was that I took responsibility for it. And I think sometimes you can look for excuses, which is the people around you or whatever it might be, but it's always got to come from you. And I think if you really decide that at the beginning of your sobriety, like this is my choice, this is what I'm going to do for me, and not let other influences like culture and environment influence you, and really stick to your guns, then it's only you that is responsible for your choices, and then you can't go backwards, and you probably won't lapse or relapse, as it were. But I think the real problem, Hame, is when people start to hide their relapses because they're embarrassed about it, because it's not just about them. They're like worried what everybody would think, and that's when the relapses and the lapses go behind closed doors and a secret drinking can start. This could be probably a bit of a sour sausage in the pan here, Hamish, because secret lapses are not a good idea.
I thought this is a very serious point she's making about people relapsing and then beginning to hide their drinking and drinking by themselves behind closed doors. But she snuck in a little sizzling spicy sausage comment halfway through it, just to lighten the mood.
I don't know what you're talking about. Can I carry on, please?
As you were.
People hide the fact that they start drinking again. And when you're not talking about your lapses or your relapses after a period of abstinence, then the problem will get worse.
I think that is where the shame comes into it, right? Because people relapse, but they don't feel ready to admit it, because admitting it admits that they are a failure, that they were right and being sober isn't part of their identity and it's too big a challenge. And their friends who are like, no, you're at your best when you're drinking, and they'll believe that. And, oh, you're right, actually. I'm not a sober person, whatever a sober person means. You feel like you don't deserve it, and you are and always will be a drunk. So to get rid of that feeling, you decide to just carry on numbing it out. And that is what we're calling a lapse, turns into a relapse, and what a short-term blip turns into you being a full-time drinker again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not uncommon for someone who has relapsed to hide from their sober support network. And that is the scaffold, really, isn't it? That is the scaffold that holds your sobriety together. If that all falls down because you've had a relapse and you lose connection with your community and your sober tribe and all of the tools that have really helped you be stable in your sobriety, it's amazing how quickly everything else will fall apart. That circle of positivity that you had going in your sobriety will probably reverse and turn into a shame circle, and that can rapidly spiral for an addict or anyone who has an issue with alcohol. It will make you feel like your progress and hard work were for nothing, and that is going to be a horrible feeling, and that horrible feeling will lead to drinking again and again and again. So basically, Hame, what we're doing here is we're imagining that someone out there is listening to this podcast and they've had a little lapse or a major relapse. What do they do?
Okay, you've had the relapse. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and identify what triggered the relapse. Was it just a slip? Was it an isolated event that happened in a day or less? Or was it a true relapse when you make one mistake and then give up, felt you failed, and went back to drinking? What started this whole thing? If we can get control over that and fully understand that, then we've got a better chance to not have another one in the future. Lots of people feel like they aren't ready for recovery or can't be sober if they relapse. The truth is, you can use the relapse as a tool as long as you don't give up. Like we said, lots of people who have been sober for years have relapsed lots of times, and they've used that for their motivation to inspire them to go for it again.
So what you're saying, Hamish, like relapse is that if you had a pet pig, for example, and it was running around in the farm and you couldn't catch it, but you wanted to ride it, but you couldn't get on its back. Relapsing, it's getting back on the pig and riding it successfully into the pen. So that's sobriety summed up for you right there.
Yes, the pig is stuck in the pen, and you are faster than the pig. And at any point, you can ride the pig. The pig is not getting out of the pen and away from you. The pig is trapped, and you are trapped there with it. So you can just get back on it whenever you want. Is that enough of this metaphor?
No, I understand now. Wait. So what you're saying is relapse is the sausage.
Relapse is the uncooked, still living pork sausage.
Okay, I'm glad we've managed to bring it round to the topic of sausages and lapses and relapses, and to find out after getting to this point halfway through the podcast and realising that the relapse is actually the sausage.
That's it.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's philosophical, isn't it? That's the thing with Sober Awkward.
Ride the pig, ride the pig.
I would love it if somebody got in touch with Scott. I had a slip up last night, but you know what? I'm riding the pig today.
Yeah, please send us pictures of you riding pigs. We would like that. Anyway,
we'll know that you listened to this episode if people can't just go, I'm riding the pig again.
So if you have a slip or a relapse, here's some things that you can do that would be very helpful.
Okay, I'll go first. The first one is forgive yourself. You can't start learning from your relapse until you let go of that negative self-talk. You messed up today, but tomorrow is a new day.
Yes, love that one. Don't give up. Relapse isn't uncommon, and it doesn't mean that you can't go back to being in active recovery.
Recommit to your sobriety and hold yourself accountable. Talk to a counsellor or your sponsor or therapist. Find a way to re-engage with your recovery process as soon as possible.
Yeah, and learn from that relapse. How were you feeling in the hours or days preceding the relapse? often people discover a trigger that they didn't realise would be so powerful. I think the diaries that we mention a lot on our guide, Hamish, like having a diary of your sobriety is such a useful tool, because in a situation like that, you might be able to pinpoint exactly where this went wrong, where you started considering to have a drink, where the craving come from, why you fulfilled it. It will all be in that diary. So really recommend getting a diary here.
I do think that last point about learning from the relapse is the most important point that will probably make this whole podcast episode. A relapse is a fork in a road, okay? And either you're going to go, fuck it, I've ruined it, I'm a drinker and I always will be, and I'm going to go back to it hard, and you're going to beat yourself up and not forgive yourself and hate yourself. Or you can take the other path, which is, this is an enormous opportunity to learn. And hey, maybe I'll hate myself for having that drink, but my God, is that going to spur me on to go back to my sobriety with newfound energy? Because I know what going back to drinking looks like. I've been down that road and it ain't pretty, and I don't want to go there. And I think that's really the way that people need to try and think about relapses. It's not a time to beat the shit out of yourself. It's a chance to give it another crack and do it better this time.
It reminds me of remember my boxing trainer in Australia, who I was lying on the floor one day, completely exhausted. I'd done the most terrible workout and I was like in pain, like practically crying on the floor. And she came down and she went, "Vic, you don't hate yourself enough." I said, "What? What do you mean? What do you mean I don't hate myself enough? I thought this was supposed to be a sort of supportive community." And she said, "No, you don't. You've got to hate yourself to keep going." And I know it's not the right way to deal with things, but she's sort of right, because for me, things always have to get bad before they get good. And with sobriety, I had to get anxiety to reach out for help. When I get fit, I have to almost get a bit fat before I get fit. Before I get happy, I usually have to be a bit sad. Like, I totally understand what she means. And you could say the same thing for relapse. Maybe you have to relapse to know that you never want to drink again. All of the feelings that you're going to feel, even the drunkenness, and maybe even that short-lived, very short-lived, we'll say, moment of sort of euphoria after that first drink, it's going to be very downhill very quickly. And actually, a relapse could just be a massive reminder of why you will never, ever drink again. And actually, whenever I read posts from people on Cuppa, on my Drunk Mummy, Sober Mummy Facebook page who have relapsed, they say, "Oh my God, it was awful. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. I felt like shit. And it's really reinforced the reason why I'm going to carry on with sobriety."
A few other things that can help, which we always recommend, is make sure you reconnect with your sobriety network. They will help you through this. They have most likely been through it. Like we said, relapses are not uncommon. Make sure your bedside table's full of Quit Lit. You've got therapists on speed dial. You subscribe to the Sober Awkward podcast. And whilst you're there, throw in a 5-star review. It's easy to do, just a few clicks away.
Yeah, do it.
Now,
And also, I'm going to interrupt you there, Hamish, because I've got some very important news, obviously, a plug. My book is now available worldwide on Audible and all audio platforms, whatever you call them. So you can get it anywhere in the world to listen to. So all of you podcast people, all you podcats, as Adam Buxton would say, out there, then go and buy it, for God's sake. Anyway, go on, carry on.
And you read it. So if you want more of Vic's voice in your ear holes, there you go. How long is it? Like how many hours of reading?
I think it's 9 hours. I think it's 9 hours altogether. Yeah.
9 hours.
If you've got a spare 9 hours in your day. Yeah, get it for free. You can actually get it for free on Spotify Premium. So, but if you do, just give me a review. That would be nice.
Yeah,
I don't make
just
any
send
money out of that.
£10 or £15 in the post. We can hand out personal addresses. Yeah,
it's a couple of coins. Or what you could do is have a little money box next to your bed that you just put £1 a day in. If everyone did that all around the world for us, Hamish, we'd probably be millionaires by now, Rodney. This week, I had someone on Cuppa saying that if Trump wins the election today, that they'd probably start drinking again.
Yeah.
And I responded by saying, it's your responsibility. I said to him, actually, vote for yourself. Like, don't allow the fact that somebody that you don't want to win might win an election and allow that to affect your sobriety, because you're handing out your life and you're making your life in the control of somebody else. And that's a really good point to end this podcast on today, is like, this is your responsibility. It's up to you to do the work, whatever that is, podcast, therapy, going for a walk every day, doing the diary, whatever it is, it's going to be down to you. And if you allow the influences of the outside world to interfere with your sobriety, it's then going to become shaky ground. But the longer you are sober, the more confidence you will have in yourself to keep it going. And that's when long-term sobriety develops and you learn more and you become more happy, which steps you back into that circle of positivity. Does that make sense?
Can I share a Matthew Perry quote with you that I found that I think sums this up quite beautifully?
Yeah.
So, Matthew Perry said, "It's important, but if you lose your sobriety, it doesn't mean you lose all that time and education. Your sober date changes, but that's all that changes. You know everything you knew before. As long as you're able to fight your way back without dying, you learn a lot."
Oh, that is absolutely spot on. Why do we even bother? Like, why do we bother
should have just
coming
opened and
online?
closed with
You
that.
could have just done that. That would have been fine. I've got another one here quickly,
But
actually.
I thought, before you go to, I just thought that was
Yeah.
a particularly relevant quote to people who and ah about whether or not to restart your sober date. I think if you want to do it or not is totally up to you. But what he said there about whether you restart it or not, all of that work you've done is not gone to waste. I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, because you're always forging forward with it, aren't you? Even if you're going up and down, back and forth, it's always leading you somewhere, which is a really important message. I know a lot of people have sober apps now where they're counting their days. I certainly do. And I know that there are apps out there that allow for blips like this. So you can have like 850 days, for example. I think that's what you're on, Hame, -1. So you can allow yourself to have these blips if you think that is going to lead you to a longer sobriety. I would say, Hamish, if I had one of those apps, which I do, and I had a drink on purpose rather than me just mistakenly sipping on a beer, and I went, right, I'm going to have a beer and I'm going to drink it, I would put my app back to 0, because that is a choice that I've made rather than an accident, and I'd feel like, right, I've got to go back from day one, which is silly, really, because it's like me putting something horrible upon myself and saying, well, you're a bad person, so therefore you've got to put your app back. But I would feel like it would be unfair for me to continue counting my days. It's all silly, really. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
We shouldn't really even count
See,
the
I'm
days. We
different.
should just be living in the moment, shouldn't we, a bit more?
I would find that too unmotivating to then check the app and be like, I'm on day 6. So I would say I've been sober for 8 years with a couple of blips. I think, just knowing myself, I think that would help. But I mean, whatever you do with your sober day count is up to you. But I do think the bigger picture is it doesn't all go to waste,
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, going back to alcohol after a period off is going to make you feel a bit shitty, that's for sure. The fantasy that it will solve all your problems and alleviate stress will be very short-lived, and you'll be back to where you were a month ago, a year ago, or even 10 years ago. People do relapse after 10 years. We don't want you to take steps back, but we also want you to not have any shame when it does happen. Just try and get some more tools in your belt for the next run. I think, Hame, in conclusion, I've changed my mind about what these two words mean, lapse and relapse. I think a lapse is when you drink and regret it straight away and jump straight back on the sober train. And I think a relapse is when you drink more than once and dive right back into the booze pool with everyone else. You sort of carry on and you're right back where you started. And I think that's where things get very, very heavy.
I think it doesn't matter. I think lapse or relapse, just trying to get sober, no matter how long it takes, is a hard and tumultuous journey for us all. So don't have shame. Just know that you are trying and you are going to carry on trying, whether you lapse or not, and never give up. You will get there in the end. I believe that. I don't know you yet, but I do believe you can do it. I believe everyone can do it.
I agree too, Hamish. I totally agree. Anyone can do it. No matter how many times you lapse and relapse, it's all the path to getting to where you want to be. So just keep going. I just want to add a big well done to our Sober October crew who completed the guide for a month. You were all amazing. There was a support group on Cuppa, which me and Hamish popped onto every day to say hello and see how everyone was doing. And there was some amazing feedback and everyone loved it. So well done, you guys. I'm going to end with a quote, Hamish, another one. It's from Carl Bard. I think he's a famous sausage maker. I'm not quite sure. He says, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. Yes, I also wanted to mention William Porter here, Hame, as well, because I've got a lot to say, because obviously I haven't chatted for ages. He came to our bloody show, didn't he?
He did. And he got on stage. He thought he was just coming for, as a spectator. And you pulled him on stage to answer a question that you felt you couldn't answer well.
Yeah, somebody had a question about craving. I was like, William Porter, the author of Alcohol Explained, is here. I brought him out on stage and he answered the bloody question. It was amazing.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's very, what's the word? He reminds me of the eagle out of Sesame Street. Do you remember the eagle? He's got a really serious face, but he's kind of sort of funny underneath. If you haven't read that book and you're having a lapse or a relapse, go and read Alcohol Explained, because that is going to give you some great advice.
We always like to recommend other people's books and other people's podcasts. That's just the type of people that we are.
Yeah.
Vic, just before we go, could you, and this won't help both me or anyone listening who is hating living or watching your life abroad, could you tell me what you're going to do with the rest of today?
Right, so there's a lovely food market down the road. Like, the kids are going to a Thai school, so they're not here at the moment. So they sing the Thai national anthem in the morning, which is absolutely brilliant. I'll post some pictures of it later today. So today already I've had a massage. I actually woke up and did a Thai boxing class this morning, which I'm absolutely loving, because of course I love boxing. But I'm not used to using my legs yet, so I'm having a few difficulties getting the old pins up high. Because actually my legs are quite stubby, as you know, Hamish. It's just pure muscle, though, actually. It's pure muscle. These thighs, Hamish.
You've done Thai boxing class this morning. You've had a massage this afternoon. You've sent the kids off to school. And now you're just hanging out by yourself, and then you're going to a Thai food market tonight.
Yeah, but I've tried. I know, but I've got to try not to have any spice today, because the spicy bot will come back, and I just can't be doing that, and nor can anyone else in the house, because we're all going to get spicy bots, because the kids are starting to eat spicy food now because they're going all Thai, which is amazing. But yeah, it's affecting our stomachs because we're all trying to kind of out-spice each other. It's like a chili eating competition gone wrong.
Spicy bots all round, is it? The whole family's got spicy bots.
If you're questioning your relationship with booze, you're struggling to moderate, or your hangovers are causing anxiety, it might be time to reach out for some support.
Yeah, just talk to a mate about how you're feeling, contact a local doctor, find an AA or sobriety group. Vic's got one.
Yeah, just head to www.cuppa.community.
Remember, if you're questioning yourself, it might be time to seek support.
Even though this journey can be awkward, it is definitely worth it. And if you've enjoyed the Sober Awkward podcast, don't forget to review it, rate it, and share it with your mates.
Do they have to share it with their mates?
Yeah, of course they do. I'm not doing this for nothing, Hamish. Bloody hell.
How do they share it?
I don't know, just write it on the...
Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson star in Die My Love, a ferocious portrait of a woman engulfed by love and madness. Lawrence and Pattinson play a passionate couple who, after moving to an isolated house in the country, find their relationship unraveling following the birth of their first child. Vanity Fair hails Lawrence's performance as astonishing, and Time calls it the kind of performance you go to the movies for. From director Lynn Ramsey, Die My Love is now playing only in theaters, rated R.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hey, it's Adam Grant from TED's podcast, Work Life, and this episode is brought to you by ServiceNow. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. That's why it's no surprise that more than 85% of the Fortune 500 companies use the ServiceNow AI platform. While other platforms duct tape tools together, ServiceNow seamlessly unifies people, data, workflows, and AI, connecting every corner of your business. And with AI agents working together autonomously, anyone in any department can focus on the work that matters most. Learn how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people at servicenow.com.
So, as you probably know, my comedy memoir, 1,000 Wasted Sundays, is officially out. All my magnificent fuck-uppery in one awkward hit. If you'd like to get your hands on a copy, it's now available from all good bookstores.
We always say all good bookstores, don't we?
Yeah.
Are there bad bookstores?
No, it's probably ones with moody sellers.
Oh yeah, really depressed librarian folk.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah. So there are probably some, but we're only storing it in the good ones.
It's only made it into the goodies.
You can also get it from all good online retailers. The print version and ebook are out now, and the audiobook will be available in March. I've been writing my memoir for 5 years. It will make you laugh, cry and cringe, and hopefully inspire a few people to reconsider their relationship with booze. If you love the podcast, then I think you'll love the book, even if I do say so myself. Hamish has read it. What did you think?
I feel like I know a little bit too much about you now, to be honest, Vic. Look, I really loved it. It was hilarious and surprisingly moving, but I feel like I've seen you naked in a literary sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah. From an emotional point of view, seriously, it wobbled my teeny weeny wooden heart, Vic.
Okay.
My teeny little wooden heart.
Well, his wooden heart is broken. Anyway, so if you do manage to get your filthy mitts on a copy, please do me a favour and head to goodreads.com and give me a review. Doing that will help me get it out there to those that need a bit of sober support. So there you have it. My story, unwanted warts and all. Come and get awkward with me.
Not to be too demanding or anything, but seriously, go and buy it now.
Yeah, go and buy it. Go and buy it right now.
Yeah, don't just tell your friends, buy it, and then buy your friends one or two.
Yeah, don't give them a copy, buy it. Yeah.
And you know what? Don't be careful where you store it. If you lose it, you can always buy another 5.
Buy another one.
Yeah.